Okay, looks like we're live now. So, hello everyone. Welcome to the very first episode of Invisible Gamer's Invisible Gamecast. My name is Gabe Gurwin. I'm the senior editor at Invisible Gamer, and we're just going to go around and kind of tell everyone who we are. So first, down there you see Amy Elise Brighter. She's the host and video producer for Invisible Gamer.
What's up, guys?
Next to her is Brien Bell. He's our news editor.
Hey there.
And our head honcho, the big hog, cheese, Michael Burns.
Hey, you skipped Seth.
Oh no, he's coming up. On my feed, he's next to you.
Oh, okay.
And then, and then our music composer, Seth Scott.
Hey everyone, how's it going?
So, Invisible Gamer's been around for what, 2 years now?
Yeah. I think I started it right before. Actually, right before E3 2012. I started it because I wanted to get into more press events.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I mean that's why Destructoid was started too. Yeah, I've been with it for about a year at this point, a little bit.
Flash flood warning in my area. Sorry.
Oh, great. That'll make this interesting. You'll see a first on YouTube. Flooded broadcasting. So I've been here about a year. Amy's been here a little bit longer than that. Brien, you've been here since the very beginning, right?
Pretty close to it, yeah.
Brien was there at the very beginning, yes.
Okay.
He was part of the seed in my brain when I decided to do it. But, yeah.
And Seth's a newbie here. You can see he wrote a Last of Us DLC review about a month ago or so, and he's composing all the music that you hear, both in this podcast, and then Amy's going to be hosting her own show, or plural,
Yes.
I'm not sure exactly, on this
It's starting
YouTube
off
channel.
with one show. We'll expand from there. Let's see
Okay.
how the first one goes.
Right.
All the shows.
Someday, I'm going to create my own empire of YouTube videos.
Seth
So-
actually wrote another piece for us, too.
Oh, yeah?
I wasn't kidding.
Is that the emergency signal?
It is. I wasn't kidding about that.
Oh
I'm
man,
sorry, guys.
it's going down. Are you on the first floor or second floor?
I don't know where it's coming from. We're on the second floor.
Okay, you're fine.
You're okay.
So what we're going to do basically is we're going to run through the news of the week. Both some of these are articles, and you'll see in the description on YouTube. Some of these are going to be links to Invisible Gamer articles. Some of them are going to be from outside, whether that means a publisher, one of the first-party websites, or an outside outlet that had the scoop on something. So I figure we'll just jump right into it. So first off, the biggest news of the week, because I don't want to not address the elephant in the room, the Xbox has dropped, well, not completely, but they're now going to be offering, is it June 9th, I believe?
June. Yeah, I think it's June 9th.
June 9th.
I want to say 6th, but that sounds right.
It's the 9th.
A new $399 Kinectless Xbox One bundle. The Kinect will not be available for like separate sale yet. They said that it's going to be coming in the future, but obviously, I think mostly this was a positive reaction on the internet. I think developers were more concerned about it. Like I know Harmonix was really pissed when this information came out. But Brien, do you want to talk about this a little bit? You wrote the article on it.
Yeah, so it makes sense that they're doing this, and they talked about possibly doing it all the way back in April, right after Phil Spencer was made the new head of the Xbox division. And it didn't really come as a surprise to anyone who was paying attention. The price disparity between the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 had led to the sales gap that we're seeing right now. PlayStation sold over 7 million units worldwide. Xbox has shipped 5 million. They haven't given us solid sales to consumer numbers since the beginning of the year. And I was a little surprised that it happened as early as it did, the announcement coming a month before E3.
Right.
But it also makes sense that they scheduled the date for the release of the console when they did, because it does come out the same day
That they had
as Xbox's media briefing at E3.
Yeah,
And
I think that was smart.
Well, this
Yeah,
isn't
smart on that
unprecedented
too.
for this to happen so early. It's the exact same thing that happened with the 3DS.
Yeah.
Except instead of taking something away, they gave you something extra, but only if you had already bought it. So.
Yeah, which I had because I was.
And as yet, as yet, they've said that there's not going to be any compensation for anyone who's previously bought an Xbox One with Kinect.
I mean,
that makes sense,
as someone who did, I saw someone say, like, give us $100 gift card if we already bought it. It was like, go fuck yourself. You pay for the console with $100 peripheral. They're not getting the peripheral, and that's what's taking the price off.
Yeah.
And honestly, the lack of a Kinect or addition of a Kinect, either way, for me, it's not going to sway me because at least from my background in gaming, I'm already kind of have bought into the PlayStation ecosystem. I have a Vita, I have a PS3, and I enjoy the games that are coming out on the system, at least for the exclusive ones. A lot of the big-name games are coming up on multiple platforms. So for me, it's like, okay, which one has the exclusives I want? And right now, that's a PS4, so there's no reason for me to want one. Price drop or no.
Definitely, I know you're heavy into the indie scene, and that's definitely the console to get right now. Like, obviously, Transit is coming out. Yeah, exactly. And we'll talk about some Xbox One exclusives more in a second, because I feel like so far, at least, the Xbox One has been pretty neck and neck, I guess. I mean, Titanfall was obviously a huge game, and Dead Rising sold well, but it didn't sell Killzone and Shadowfall well. I think that's partly just because of how many PS4s sold at launch. But yeah, I think a lot of people have been writing one side off too quick and putting the other side up. Maybe that's just because I was an Xbox guy before, but I have both systems. I play them about the same. I was playing my PS4 almost exclusively for a couple weeks, and then I just got back to my Xbox to play a game that just came out on that. But as far as like Kinect, I don't really care that they did this. I think it's great for people who didn't care about the Kinect. But I've been telling people like I'd still get it because it does make the UI and frankly some in-game tasks a lot easier. Battlefield, for instance, for like voice commands and stuff like that. Otherwise, you have to open up a wheel, which takes up part of your screen and everything, instead of just saying something.
Yeah, but that kind of thing can be patched out, and like I don't know if anybody here even remembers what the old Xbox 360 interface looked like when it launched.
The blades.
But that changed within a year.
Interface can change. It's some of the game stuff that I'm more concerned about, and that's not. I don't think that's going to be a huge deal. There's only one game on the 360 that I can think the voice control and Kinect really helped, and obviously some people make the point, well, they could probably patch that so you could do it with a headset as well. No, I actually didn't play Skyrim after they added that. Mass Effect 3. Instead of having to stop the game to tell Liara to use singularity every 6 seconds, I just kept yelling it.
Well, are they going to be selling the Kinect separately? So if you decide down the line, hey, there's this one game that I want, but I need the Kinect functionality.
Yeah, they said they're going to do that later.
Yeah, not immediately.
Just making sure that's still an option for you down the line.
And the reason why they're not selling it immediately is because, according to some Xbox folks, some of the executives who have been talking about removing it from the bundle, they're planning to sell it for less than $100 to keep it somewhat in parity with the PlayStation camera that's already on the market. And they can't sell that camera for less than $100 until they bring the already existing bundle with Kinect down from its $499 price point. Because otherwise, what's the point of buying the camera-less Xbox One and then buying the camera separately for the same price as you would have bought them together?
I can see at that point is maybe them giving like a little Xbox Live voucher, almost like the PlayStation did with everyone when they bought the PS4, maybe $20 or something to spend on games or something. Because that is pretty quick if they were to drop the price. And like Michael said with the PS or the 3DS, that would kind of be in the same line. So moving on to, I guess, kind of related news. Did you Google Michael? Did you Google Aaron Greenberg while we were waiting?
He was head of something, and now he's a marketing guy, right? Or is it the other way around?
He's always been kind of part of the marketing thing from what I was seeing.
Yeah, so Aaron Greenberg, he's named the head of marketing for Xbox Games and Entertainment Studios. Before he was the chief of staff, that sounds political, for Microsoft's Interactive Entertainment Division. And so this is from Game Informer. It's a Mike Futter article. apparently, like I'm not that familiar with Greenberg actually, but apparently he's a very passionate, kind of high energy guy, which I think they're looking for after someone like Don Matrick was on stage.
Or Steve Ballmer.
Developers.
Yeah, I don't know too much about their new CEO, besides the fact that he's been shaking things up again after what they've already done with their weird organization that Ballmer had before he stepped down. So now let's move on to something more interesting. So Halo 5.
Okay.
What were you gonna say?
I just said okay.
Okay.
For comic effect.
So
Sorry.
the new Halo has finally been given a title. So it was revealed last year at E3, but all we got was that weird Sand People trailer with Microsoft with
Halo
Master
meets
Chief.
Journey.
Amy, can you go ahead and add Eric, by the way?
Yes, I can.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so it was like Halo meets Journey. And so now we have the title for it, which is Halo 5 Guardians. Game Informer made an article that I think was supposed to be tongue-in-cheek. If you remember, if you played any of the classic Halo games, in fact, I think they still do it, when you die, if you fall off the end of something, if you fall off like the edge of something, I'll add Eric for you, it's okay. Or if you get like hit by a train in Halo 2, they would say that you got killed by the Guardians, so they kind of joked about that. Maybe they're actually a real canonical thing. So the game is coming out in fall of 2015, but they hint in this post that doesn't mean that they were just lying when they said something was coming 2014. And that kind of leads into our next bit of news. But let's talk about Halo 5 first. What do you guys, do you think, 3 years, do you think that's going to be enough?
3 years is
from Halo 4?
More than enough at this point.
So Halo 4 was 2012, and Reach was 2010. So we don't know how long 343 had been working on it beforehand, but I guess to put in more perspective, Reach was 2010, Halo 3 was 2007, but they had ODST in between, so I think this means they're probably going to be ready. Yeah, Eric was invited. He should get something. But yeah, I'm excited for this. They already pointed out, some people were talking about the cover. If you see this picture, it's like a reflection sort of thing. Master Chief's on the bottom, and there's some new character on the top. Someone thought it was like a personification of Cortana or Sarah Palmer, but Josh Holmes, the executive producer, says it's a brand new character. So, and it's a guy. That's all we know. Maybe it's gonna be like the Arbiter or something. I know you guys aren't big on Halo. I'm talking to myself right now.
No, I'm trying to
I watched Eugene play about 5 minutes.
Forbes ads.
I mean, the top reflection is Master Chief's on the bottom, right?
Right.
Is that the one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Dom.
Are you merging the Microsoft things right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think that's Dom.
I'm looking at a tiny picture, and it sort of looks like Gears armor to me.
Okay, yeah, it looks. I mean, it's more in line like with the slim down look for the Spartan. What is it, Spartan 3s? That the armor look compared to Master Chief, where he's been a little chunkier since he's supposed to be like the previous generation or whatever. Oh, someone just invited me to something. I'm getting distracted. Oh, it was Michael adding me back. Okay. But the other cool piece of news, and obviously people were wondering why did they announce this before E3? Do you guys have any opinion on that? I'm kind of the mind where something like this maybe would have been cooler just to leave for E3, get more eyes on it.
Yeah, that's where I'm kind of at. I mean, that's a huge franchise.
Yeah,
because they don't have enough to show, so
Yep.
they can't just reveal it at a press conference with a still image like a cover shot and.
I mean, they had a trailer last year.
What's that?
I mean, they had a trailer last year.
It was all cinematic trailer.
That's true.
I mean, could it be in any way like to help lessen the blow, so to say, of them dropping the peripheral on the Xbox One?
Maybe to divert attention to it. I don't know, but it seems like that was mostly a positive thing. At least from people I've seen, they were happy that they have the option now. At least as far as consumers.
Consumers.
The developers were the ones who were pissed about that. I don't think they really care that Halo 5 is coming out.
In the story I wrote for the site, my conjecture was that they were hoping to, with the announcement of the Connectless Xbox this week, plus this, that they would garner some more excitement for the brand that's already flagging in sales behind its rival at this point.
Yeah.
And I think to some point that's a good idea because they're building hype for the brand even before they bring out whatever it is they're planning to show in full living color on June 9th. And you know that they've got something, they keep talking about everything that they've got planned. And if they're, I think a lot of people are going to be saying if they're revealing this before we even get to the show, what are they going to announce there?
Yeah.
I mean,
and they said they had Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, yeah, you hope they'd have something to show at the show. I mean, I know that, like, Nintendo did the Smash Bros. Big Direct before E3, and it seems like they're just going to have gameplay at E3, so maybe they're going to have some kind of similar thing, gameplay-wise, just at E3, and they wanted to get an announcement out now.
Or maybe they're going to have more game. I mean,
tournament.
I mean, it's like they announced it a full year ago. I figure they have something ready. I think they probably are going to have something gameplay related, and maybe they just wanted this to, because they already said Halo's coming. That this is just kind of like a formality. I don't know.
Well, I mean,
they also mean they're trying to beat a leak because they're worried that someone's going to figure out what's coming. And so to not spoil any surprises, they're like, hey, letting you know this game's coming. We'll show you more at E3. So
that's true. And the day before, there was
an
an insider. I forget his name. Who had said that they're going to announce the next Halo today and give a release date and stuff. I don't remember his name. I believe he posted it on Gaff, but I can't verify that right now. But the other thing, and this has not been confirmed yet, I do not believe, as of when I saw it. It was just, they said they wouldn't comment on rumor and speculation. I think a lot of people saw this coming, though, and it was an Engadget broke this, that, like some people thought, there's going to be a big collection, Halos 1 through 4, remastered for the Xbox One. It will not include Reach or ODST because it's going to be apparently called the Master Chief Collection. And yeah, it looks like it says here Microsoft has gone on record saying that it would love to have Halo release more than once every 3 years. I think this is kind of a cool way to do that instead of trying to just rush the game or pull an Assassin's Creed or something to release an HD little port to bring people over. Even though it's not always indicative of how the series is going to go. If you guys remember the Combat Evolved Anniversary, which was like $40, it had some Kinect commands that didn't work very well, and then that was nowhere to be found in Halo 4. But yeah, I'm excited about this because it's been a while since I played. It's been years since I played Halo 2 or 3. I think I played Halo 1 again a couple of years ago because I don't know, I wanted to. But yeah, I think this is a good jumping-on point for some people who maybe have an Xbox One but haven't played the series. I think it's more likely that there are people who are going to be jumping on to Sony after having an Xbox and wanting to try out their franchises. Me, for instance, with Uncharted, I've never played a console Uncharted game besides some demos. I've just played Golden Abyss.
Golden Abyss is the only one I've played too, but I also own all 3 of them, and they're sitting in my basement waiting to be played.
I finished Golden Abyss and the first one, and I think I played like half of the second one.
Everyone says the second one's the best, except for Greg Miller.
I like the third one a lot.
I played a lot of Uncharted, and definitely 2 is my favorite. 1 is some of the controls in 1 make it really tough. After playing the second one, because I played the second one first, and then went back to the first one, and the controls made it really hard to play through. But 2 and 3 are great games.
Yep. I have platinum trophies for all 3 of the first games, and I'm very close on Golden Abyss. But I'm one of the few people who actually enjoys 3 more than 2.
I have a platinum trophy in watching Harrison Ford play Uncharted 3.
Thank you.
I have seen that video. That was a funny video.
I have the problem of I don't know if I'll ever actually get around to playing 3. I probably should. Again, I own it. I actually have the collector's edition. Thanks, Eric. But I also watched Eric play through all of 3. So he was playing it while I was sitting in the room. So it's like, all right, I know what happens.
Yeah, I watched some LPs of it where they had the the sequences with him as a kid or everything.
Yeah.
But that's one. I mean, I don't know what's going on at Naughty Dog. There's been some shakeups there lately, and
Yeah,
Even
a lot of changes.
yeah, so at the launch, it was the launch for the PS4, right? It was the midnight launch. So they announced that there was an Uncharted on PS4. I don't think they even gave it a name. It just said Uncharted, and it had this guy doing a narration. It was obviously not Nolan North. And though Nathan Drake will be back, played by Nolan North, this is someone else. He's gone now. Whoever that character was, is now
It
voiced
was
by
an
someone
actor
else.
named Todd Stashwick.
Yeah, and initially everyone says it was Blair Herter, but that was not true. I don't know why he would be doing voice acting anyway. But so he's no longer involved. The creative director, Amy Hennig, is no longer, and writer for all 3 games is no longer involved. Hi, Eric.
She's doing Star Wars now.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah.
Actually, Amy and Todd Stashwick are both writing the new Star Wars game for us.
Wow.
As well as the game director for Uncharted 4. He's gone. They have gotten a couple people in this time, but I think also I think it was the lead animation director.
Nate Wells, he was the lead artist for the studio, and then the lead animation director for The Last of Us left.
So very, very strange.
So Eric, in case you can't tell, we're actually talking about the Halo collection.
You're muted, Eric. You know you are. Okay. So, can you just give me the finger? We're live. Oh, 1 second. That's his pointer finger. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so, yeah, I don't know. Like,
all right, I'm here.
All right.
Welcome.
You think of Naughty Dog as being like the New York Yankees? What I mean by that is once you go there, as
You
a
stay there,
developer, yeah, you stay there.
Till you retire.
Yeah, exactly.
Sports.
Derek Jeter.
I'll be right back, guys.
So you see, like people from Bungie even going to Naughty Dog, and then, it's very maybe it's just because things are more public than they used to be. I know when there was some switching down going on at Irrational before BioShock Infinite came out, he said, Ken Levine said, this kind of happens and it's just kind of more public. Don't read into it too much. And everyone kind of said, okay, whatever. But now, I don't know. And they said
And then Irrational fired everyone at the studio.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. So
I think that's a whole different situation.
I have no idea what Ken Levine is planning or whatever. I'm supporting him. I love
We'll just have to find out.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing you can do.
So let's move on a little bit. So Watch Dogs comes out in a little under 2 weeks now. Not next Tuesday, but the Tuesday after that.
Yep.
And there's been a lot of stuff about it this week. So I wrote a couple articles that went up on InvisibleGamer.net. You can go check those out, and I'll put them in the description if you want. The first one is on this new trailer. It's called Watch Dogs 101. It's basically just a big overview trailer of the game where they give more information on some of the characters and that stuff. And they also give a look at some of the mini games, which this is what I want to talk about for the people who like kind of retro style stuff in modern games. There's a game called Envision, which turns the map into a classic sci-fi shooter with an 8-bit twist. Have you guys seen footage of this yet?
No.
I watched the
I've been
trailer
avoiding
this
it.
afternoon, and
Avoiding
I'm very amused.
Yeah, it's pretty goofy. And then there's another one called Coin Rush, which is basically like you're parkouring around the map to add the weight that it's actually in the Assassin's Creed universe, which it isn't, but you can believe it. Basically collecting all these coins. So yeah, it excited me. It was a 9.5 minute trailer. If you want to watch that, go right ahead. The thing that was kind of the bigger news though this week, there's been a lot of talk obviously about the story trailer a couple weeks ago, about a month ago actually, came out for Assassin's Creed, I'm adding weight to it now, for Watch Dogs.
Conspiracy.
Yeah, and the graphics look to be downgraded. And before I even saw comments, I was thinking the same thing. The facial animations did not look as good. They've said since Angry Joe did an interview that the settings they had on the E3 footage had been of like the super powered Beast PC version of the game, and so maybe these are from the console. Kind of worried going into with consoles they just bought. But now.
Well, in the consoles, they just announced what the frame rate resolutions were for those.
And we're gonna say that now. So Jonathan Morin, the creative director, talked about this and said that the PS4 version is going to be 30 FPS and 900p, while the Xbox One version will be, I think, 792p and also 30 FPS. And so this comes a couple months ago, one of the lead developers on the game said that they were pretty sure it was going to be 1080p, at least on Xbox, excuse me, at least on PS4. Didn't mention anything about Xbox One then, and now neither console has been able to get there.
Can I just throw this out there? Is if the game plays fine, who cares?
Yeah.
Neckbeards.
Well, I think that the issue people are having with it is like, how is this next-gen experience if it's pretty much the same resolution and the same frame rate as my console can run now? And I think, like, I don't know who it was at Ubisoft that said correctly, the answer to that is, like, if you've got more characters on the screen, if you've got more physics to keep track of, if you've got greater draw distance, whatever. Who cares if it's the same resolution and the same frame rate?
Exactly.
Yeah. And Jonathan Moore mentioned in that post, which Gary Steinman wrote for the UB blog, that taking a lot of the effects that you'd see in a corridor shooter that can be at 1080p and 60 FPS is just a lot harder to do in an open world game. The curious thing, though, is that, and I mentioned this.
Creed.
Yes, Assassin's Creed 4 is in 1080p on PS4, albeit after an update. That came out, and that was obviously not like a next-gen first sort of game.
Yeah, but you don't have pulse rifles in Assassin's Creed.
Of course.
So none of those corridor flashy shooter effects, flashbang, whiz-bang, hoo-ha.
What, did that shoot pee at you? Whiz-bang?
Yeah. Was Infamous was 1080p, but it was only 30 FPS, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it ran.
Well,
together.
I never had a problem with it.
Yeah.
I had a problem with the fact that the rear surround
sound
don't crossfade properly, and you can't hear anything.
Surround sound is terrible.
I've written to those guys a couple times, and they just ignore me because they're assholes.
I use the tinny speakers on my Vizio TV in my room, so I don't know about that.
I mean, I have a sound bar which is like virtual surround sound, and I use the 7.1 virtual surround sound headset. I didn't have any problems, but you guys have real surround sound set up, so.
Yeah, it was like there was times when I was playing that you literally couldn't even hear the conversation. Sometimes you had to like move around in the game to hear.
You had to make sure that they were somewhere either like to the side or in front of you. If they were directly behind you, you couldn't hear what they were saying.
Subtitles for days.
That's not my problem. Like my surround sound is set up properly, and it's set up properly in the system. And there's even an option for surround sound in the game. So. It's just there aren't very many people complaining about it. I think for whatever reason, a lot of people just don't have surround sound or whatever. But because people aren't complaining about it, they're not addressing it, and that really pisses me off because they've updated the game at least once already.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're at 1.05 now.
Getting back to Watch Dogs, can I just kind of throw a potentially unpopular and contentious opinion? I think this game should have just come out as a launch game, even if it was subpar, because I feel like it cannot possibly live up to the hype that it's been generating, and it's going to disappoint, in my opinion. I mean, I have no basis of playing, but I feel like it physically cannot live up to the hype it generated, so I feel like they actually may have been better just releasing it as a launch game, as a subpar game. Because if we look back, people thought Rise was a good game, was justified as a good game.
I don't know.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. They just thought it looked nice.
People were trying to justify it. I mean, it's the launch games.
I have friends who still say it was a good game.
Yeah,
which
people
is weird.
justified mediocre games as good games, and I feel like had
Killzone
Watch Dogs come out as a launch game, even if it was mediocre to the good range, I feel like it would probably have gotten a better reception than it's probably going to get, in my opinion. Because
I don't know. When you see a game that late,
but you've seen
there has to be something really, really wrong with it. For
Hold on, Eric, can I interject with a quote from Miyamoto-san?
Yes,
a bad game is bad forever. A delayed game is good eventually.
But it doesn't matter if it's good if it doesn't live up to the expectations.
But we don't know that yet.
It doesn't have to live up to hype to be good, though.
That's fair. And I think this might also be one of those things, at least for me, and I've had a couple other friends who've pointed this out, is that their interest in the game has kind of waned, and so some of the hype that was probably initially there has also waned because it has been delayed for a significant amount of time, in comparative sense. So I think that this may also be one of those things, because it's had a little bit of time to sit and simmer for a while, that it
People
might
won't be as disappointed if there's something wrong with it.
Yeah, I don't know. I also just don't think it's a good sign that we haven't heard anything of review copies going out, and it's an open world game with a less than a week to the game releases. Whenever Nintendo's confident enough to throw out Mario Kart 2 weeks in advance and get all the positive coverage it can, I don't know. I'm just starting to feel some red flags with this game. I don't think it's going to be bad by any stretch of the imaginations. I'm just starting to feel like, okay, this is probably going to land in the high 7, low 8 range with a lot of outlets, and I'm just getting red flags. That's just me.
I don't know. I think there's really no basis for that yet. As far as review copy things go, I'd say that's usually on the DL. Sometimes you'll find out about, they'll say, hey, it's coming up this day, but I think as we get a little bit closer to release, you'll see that people have it and everything.
Yeah, they've still got a week and a half, so.
It's like, there's a lot of times where people just won't talk about it because there's no reason to. It's like, if there's an NDA, what's the use telling people that you have the game and you're playing it besides just being an asshole and rubbing it in their face?
Because then people are just going to bug you with questions that you
exactly
can't answer.
they can't answer. And maybe it will be mediocre, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's going to be good. One game I was so stoked for.
It looks great from what I've seen.
But I mean, Mario Kart's kind of stolen all the hype for me, honestly. That's the one game I cannot wait for.
I'll agree with that, yeah. Especially seeing everyone playing it and posting pictures and videos. It's like, geez, man, I'm so jealous.
As far as hype goes and whether this was a good decision, this is still the most pre-ordered new IP in the history of video games.
I thought Destiny was.
No, that's just Bobby Kotick.
They're hoping Destiny's going to be that. That's what I heard.
And there's still months and months and months for that, but Bobby Kotick talks because he likes to.
Will there be a sequel to Destiny called Destiny's Child? I just want to know. Because I feel like that has some major crossover appeal.
Beating the crap out of Jay-Z, by the way?
Major crossover.
Oh gosh, we just went to Hollywood scandal zone.
This is TMIG.
That's my day job. Let's not.
Okay. Yeah, that's.
No thanks.
But yeah, we're just gonna have to wait and see on this one, and I've been super excited for it. My interest has waned, admittedly, too. The thing that's funny, though, is I wasn't really excited for Assassin's Creed 4, and I was just kind of like, yeah, I'll get it, and Watch Dogs got delayed, and I loved Assassin's Creed 4. And we'll talk a little bit more about some stuff with Ubisoft in just a bit. So we talked briefly for a second about Killzone Shadowfall. It's going to be getting a new co-op mode. Do you guys see this? One person's happy about that. I know.
Is the multiplayer about to be free on Plus as well?
No, they do free weekends every once in a while.
No, but you can download the multiplayer portion for free in a month. I thought I read that.
They did that for Killzone 3, but I don't think they've announced it for Shadowfall yet.
Didn't they do it for to a certain extent for Uncharted 3 also?
Yeah, they did for Uncharted 3.
Because people
maybe I was talking to an Uncharted.
But anyway, it's going to be getting a new 4-player co-op mode. This is from Joystick. And so we don't know too much about it except that it's going to be able to be purchased with the game as DLC or separately, which is an interesting decision. I'm not sure that there's too many people who would want to just play the co-op for a game that's, I think, mostly single-player focused, although there is a really good multiplayer mode for Killzone Shadowfall. I don't know.
I mean, if they make this a $10 downloadable thing and it says, hey, you get the entire rest of the multiplayer suite with it, I mean, that's a great impulse buy.
They won't do that, though. It's just going to be this mode.
Or something, even then, $10 for a good multiplayer co-op shooter. I mean, there's really nothing else like that on PSN at the moment.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'd probably go back to it if there was a co-op option. I haven't played Killzone in a while just because there's better multiplayer. Once I started playing Titanfall, there's really no reason to go back and play Killzone's multiplayer. But at launch, Killzone's Shadowfall's multiplayer is way better than the campaign, in my opinion. The campaign's pretty
They feel like two completely separate games.
They do. They feel very
pace-wise and frame rate-wise, and
The PSP game is the best.
No.
The dungeon crawler.
It's not a dungeon
isometric.
crawler.
It's an isometric shooter. It's awesome.
I heard really good things about Mercenary, but I still haven't played that yet.
Yeah.
I mean, all the handheld Killzones have actually been pretty good.
All two of them.
All two of them, yes.
Mercenary was a good game. The story was really dumb. The concept was cool, but the actual
all the Killzone stories are pretty dumb.
It could have been cool. You can say this a lot with Killzone. You could say the premise sounds cool, but then you start playing it and you're like, what the hell's going on?
Nazis.
Well, remember we're talking about video games. Yeah, when we're talking about the stories being dumb, that's almost all video games.
There's a lot of things with that problem.
But then you play a good one, with a good story, like BioShock Infinite, and then I go back to a previous game, like Tomb Raider. I'm like, the story sucks in this. What are you doing? And the same lady wrote both of them, or worked on Infinite anyway. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. Anyway, but yeah, I guess I'm excited for this. I don't know. and more PlayStation news, Sony announced that the PS4 version alone of MLB 14 The Show is the fastest-selling game in the entire series. I think
Pretty
there's
impressive.
I think there's a couple different reasons for this. I'll let you guys talk first.
A, no games.
Exactly. Well, that was my reason for that.
Or honestly, I mean, MLB has such a huge following, and with Xbox not getting a baseball game this year, a lot of people there's a lot of people on my friends list that like buy the show every single year, just like Call of Duty, just like Madden.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, a lot of people were thinking, oh, next gen baseball finally, and they upgraded.
Yeah.
We got like 8 copies at Target. We sold out by noon that day.
Yeah. So how did I get it? I think I pre-ordered it. I guess, and I picked it up. So the last one I had gotten before that was MLB 12, the show, and then before that I had gotten 2K11, which was it was really buggy, but it was still okay. But yeah, I don't know. This is 40% up over the previous year, and with it's like statistical noise. The install base for the PS4 right now compared to the PS3, I think it mostly is just people need something to play. You know, it's kind of dry. It's a really this does not feel like a port up. It feels like a true next-gen sports game.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
It's interesting that the sales are so high for this because they didn't include any pre-order specials. Last year, it might have been last year or the year before, they included 30 free days of MLB TV subscription when you pre-ordered the game for PS3, which is fantastic if you're a Major League Baseball fan. Because you get out-of-market games, you get games the same day that they're broadcast live.
And if you're buying an MLB game and you're not a Major League Baseball fan, you have too much money.
It was 2 years before Amazon and GameStop did bundles where if you bought both of them, the Vita and PS3 versions on launch day, you saved $20.
Mm-hmm. And I wish they did something like that again, because otherwise I'd probably get the Vita version. And I know at Amazon, I didn't buy it this way just because shipping was going to be ridiculous, but they have... I guess if you pre-ordered it, you got like a skin for your controller for your favorite team, which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's cool. Didn't they also offer if you bought it for PS3? Because didn't the PS3 version come out a week or two before?
It was a month.
It came out a month. Yeah.
I think they said that if you bought it PS3, you could upgrade to the PS4 version.
They did not do it this time around.
They didn't do that?
Well, certain retailers may have been, hey, trade it in, get $40 towards the PS4 version, but no official upgrade path.
Yeah, I think GameStop had something, but there wasn't a Sony thing.
Okay, that's probably right. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. And so MLB 13, like, it still sold pretty well last year. It didn't stay up as long, but the month it came out came out last March, which I guess was a little bit earlier than MLB 13 came out, or 14 came out this year. And that year, for that month, it topped PSN charts over Tomb Raider and Uncharted, which both came out that month as well. Or excuse me, and Tomb Raider and BioShock Infinite. Yes.
Yeah.
Which
Uncharted.
A lot of Uncharted talk today.
Yeah, part of that was because BioShock Infinite came out at the very tail end of the month, I think. Well, it was I think March 6th for MLB, but still, that's pretty impressive. A game I don't know, for some reason I would figure that most copies of MLB would be bought physically, because I think the people who only buy a couple games tend to buy them physically, and sports games tend to be the type of game that person who only buys a couple games a year would get. But that's just
I bought mine digitally. It was the first time I'd bought a full retail game on PS4 digitally.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah,
I buy almost all my games digitally.
I just like having the box on my shelf. If there's some here's the thing. After I'm done with a game and I put it away, sure, it's still on my console, but every once in a while I'll have nostalgic thoughts by looking at my shelf and seeing what's over there.
Yep, I agree with you on that one.
Grand Theft Auto 5, like I haven't played that in a couple months, but that was good times, and now I remember that.
I'm very much in the wherever I can get the best deal, physical or digital, that's what I'm going with. So.
Yeah, and since when you get review copies, you're kind of like, free game. But.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Michael has said a lot about converting to getting things digitally, but...
I have enough plastic shit everywhere.
I agree.
Yes.
If I can get it physically, I'll get it physically, though. I'm still in that mindset.
I mean, hey.
Like Gabe said, I like seeing it on my shelf.
But at the same time, I look at something like this, and I have 115 games on this thing.
If I had a bigger memory card, I'd get stuff digitally, but I don't.
Oh, yeah. I
have 280 games on my 3DS.
The one exception I'll make with this is something like Borderlands 2, which I'm going to be getting soon.
Don't do that.
I will. Don't tell me what to do.
Okay.
That game is 6 gigs. I'm not wasting 6 gigs of. I'm not wasting over a fifth of my memory card just to one game. So like Killzone Mercenary, I have the card. Borderlands 2, I'll be getting the cards. Just for certain games that take up way too much memory, I get the cards.
Killzone I actually have.
Let me tell you what you do.
I have the download because that's what Sony sent me.
You get another really big memory card for stuff that you don't actually play that often, and because you have to like reinitialize your database or whatever every time you switch memory cards, it's kind of a pain in the ass. But you take the memory card with the games you don't play very often, and you put it in the cartridge slot, and you just leave it in there. That's what I did for a bit.
In the cartridge slot?
Yeah, put your memory card in there. It fits.
Yeah,
but
I feel like it would get jammed in there.
It won't get. What's it gonna get jammed in?
I don't know. Something.
If you turn it upside down and shake, it'll come out. I promise. That stuff is not
Turn
actually.
your head and cough.
It's actually.
It's not that delicate in there.
Gabe, I know that you didn't have the Vita on this, but do you mind if I just talk about it for one quick second?
Yeah, sure.
I thought about upgrading the Vita, even though it is a downgrade in size, mainly just because it has 1 gig of onboard storage, because that's one of the reasons why I haven't bought a second memory card, is because my physical game saves are on this memory card, but if I put in the other memory card and then put in my physical game, the saves, they get lost. But by having 1 gig of internal storage, the new Vita, I can keep all the saves on the internal parts, keep all my games.
But it's not an upgrade. Like
Upload all your saves to the cloud.
System, the battery's better. And the battery's only better because the screen's worse.
I know, but at the same time, like I touch the back touchpad way too much for this thing, so having a smaller back touchpad is like actually kind of appealing to me.
That's true.
Okay. The thing I wish that they let you just set the dead zone, you know.
That would be nice. I am glad they did switch over to a micro USB port.
That's very nice, yeah.
I will say,
and that design of that port is so dumb. Why would they make it like the same size so that you could plug it in backwards? Like it used to at least on a USB, if you plug it in the wrong way, like you can't do it.
Yeah. The one thing I will say, my last thought about the Vita, I'm sad that we went these entire 2 years without finding what this dang mystery port was for.
The strange, mysterious port that will never do anything.
I still kept
hoping
saying
it's going to be for capturing, but
I thought it was going to be HDMI out. Or I really thought it was going to be some sort of proprietary HDMI out, and that would have been awesome. But hey, I guess I'm the TV.
It's for the external UMD drive.
The universal mini disc of the future.
The good thing though about the PSP's UMD drive was the most fun drive to eject games from because they went flying.
That's
if you want to call it fun, sure.
I had a PSP Go and I love my PSP Go. Just throwing it out there.
I have that too.
Yeah, there was a kid at my high school who had a PSP Go. It's kind of weird.
Anyway,
just played Sonic on it. Yeah, moving on. So the other really big news of the day, and this came out yesterday, Far Cry 4 got announced. And so there have been rumors before that it was going to be set in the Himalaya. Exactly. We'll talk about that in a second. So there were rumors before that it was going to be set in the Himalayas, and they had comments on anything, and that's the case.
Wait, why is Voss sitting on your head?
Is he
telling you to say this?
Yeah.
Maybe he's taking a dump on this idea.
He told me the definition of propaganda, and so now I'm just following through with what he said.
He has a gun pointed at your head.
The gun's pointed at his head, yeah.
Yeah, it's true. But you see, Cole, or Delson, excuse me, is next to me, and he's got protagonist face, so he's protecting me.
Actually, just looking at the podcast, he's looking at Seth's face right now.
He wants to kill Seth or Mario behind Seth.
Yeah, there's Super Mario 64 there.
So you were saying?
So yeah, apparently it stars Julian Assange. And it's going to be about a new WikiLeaks database in the Himalayas. No,
Julian Assange or Patrick Stewart, apparently.
So Altano, he made a Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory Photoshop that's pretty.
Brian Altano, comedy writer for IGN, for those who don't know.
Everyone, yeah.
No, everybody knows. Nobody knows who that is.
Yeah. Get out your rap. Yeah, that's he'll be like Newman on Seinfeld. He'll just be a rap guy. But yeah, so two years in development compared to, well, we don't know how long it was in development, but there were 4 years between Far Cry 2 and Far Cry 3, and now 2 years and Blood Dragon came out between. So that's a pretty narrow window there.
Blood Dragon.
Considering there are
You're
like
like the only
10,000
person who didn't
people
like that.
working on this game, though. Really?
Yeah.
What,
And
Brian?
Say it again, Brian. Yeah.
Considering that there are probably about 10,000 people working on this game and every other Ubisoft game, Ubisoft, for those who care,
I care.
it doesn't matter to me that it's been 2 years since the last release, because as long as the team that was involved in the writing of it has remained consistent.
Yeah, so the writer of Far Cry 3 was working on Child of Light, so I'm not sure how much of the team is going to be still there. I know the executive
That is quite
producer.
a shift in
Yeah.
I mean,
genre.
honestly, yeah, the story was great, but there's just no other feeling as to running around skinning animals and killing a bunch of stuff, and taking the bases. I will say that Far Cry 4 has immediately shot to the top of my most anticipated third-party game as of right now.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. The executive producer.
Batman?
It's not
I'm
coming
not
out.
a Batman fan.
Batman?
It's not coming out this year.
Brian,
Arkham
Yeah, it
City,
is.
it's the fourth game.
That game is not coming out this year.
It's
No
the
way.
fourth game, and who cares?
Arkham City was a snooze fest.
You're
I
insane.
liked it, but who needs another one? So
Exactly.
Insane. Arkham City is one of the best games I've ever played. But anyway, let me just say something. So the exec producer is the same, but the director is the director of Assassin's Creed 3.
Wait. I'm sorry, Eric. Did you say City was a snooze fest?
I mean, maybe it was just me. Like, I thought Asylum was great, and then by the time I came to City, I'm like, oh, it's more the same.
That's
you
wrong.
did not play enough City then.
Anyway, okay, I'm sorry.
Origins was
Gabe.
but yeah, so the executive producer is the same. His name's Dan something rather. I don't remember.
Dan
Dan
Rather.
Reichert.
Yeah, Dan Reichert was not the executive producer on this game. That would have been awesome though, 'cause this is like his type of thing. And
You
then
guys don't know who Dan Rather is, do you?
I know who Dan
I know
Rather
who
is.
Dan Rather is.
the old news anchor, I know.
Yeah.
Okay, because you said Dan Rather.
I said Dan something rather. I said.
Yeah, I liked it. Dan Rather. So anyway, Dan Rather, director of Far Cry 4, go.
No, executive producer. The director of the game
Gene Wilder.
is Alex Hutchinson, the director of Assassin's Creed 3. This is what worries me a little bit.
It only worries you because of your stupid angry friend on Facebook.
No.
I'm talking to you
Let's
guys.
not talk about him. Let's not talk about him.
I mean, honestly, I don't think Assassin's Creed 3 was as bad as everyone said.
It was bad.
That's not
We
bad.
give it
It
an
wasn't
A
bad.
minus on
I tried a lot of Assassin's Creed games before and never gave two fucks about them because I don't care about... I didn't enjoy the settings at all, and I've actually always wanted to play an action game that was set during the American Revolution. So Assassin's Creed 3 was my first Assassin's Creed game,
I don't know. I've played every one.
and I really liked it.
Gabe, if you say it's a bad game, would you have given it a 4 or below on a review scale?
I would have given it probably a 5.
That's not bad. It's mediocre.
That depends on your scale.
What's mediocre about it? The only problem I have with
It's
it,
extremely
the only problem
buggy.
I have
The
with it
combat
is
is horrible. The draw distance, everything about that is terrible.
Okay,
the story is
wait,
awful.
how does draw distance affect your gameplay? It's just a minor thing to pick at.
Because there's pop-up all the time when I'm trying to...
But how does that
around.
affect your gameplay? It does. It's
It
just
does. It takes me out of the game.
it does, but I never noticed that once on the Wii U. I was like going out into like grand vistas and just staring out at stuff because it was
on
beautiful.
the 360, it wasn't just pop up in the distance. It was I'd be standing there and people would pop up right next to me.
Yeah, that never happened in my game.
Never
But
happened to
what
me
did
either.
happen is that boss battle at the very end was horrible.
That chase, you mean?
Yeah.
Ugh, that was horrible. Was it the Conquered Hill battle? The one where you're running around trying to not get shot.
Bunker Hill battle?
Or Bunker. I'm combining Lexington, Concord, and Bunker Hill. Excuse me.
It is alliteration. Battle of Bunker Hill.
Yeah, the cannon stuff was bad. That weird one where you're trying to command the troops was what they did was that they tried to add in too many historical elements at the expense of gameplay because they wanted to have cool set pieces. And with Assassin's Creed 4, they didn't have that leash on them. They could kind of just do whatever they wanted to make it fun, and that's what they did. And the game's awesome. But I really hated Assassin's Creed 3.
Assassin's Creed 4 came out too soon for me.
Yeah, me too.
I wasn't excited. I wasn't excited about it at all. Then I
Neither was
decided
I,
to buy
by the
it
way.
because I was watching
Me.
Eric, I think,
Yeah.
play it on PS4. So I bought it on Wii U because I didn't have a PS4, and I played it quite a bit, and I really liked it. But then some game came to me for review, and I haven't played it since then. And I think about it, and I'm like, oh, I would like to continue playing that. But then I just realized last night I'm only 50% done with Grand Theft Auto 5. So I just feel like those games are like
Yeah.
coming out way too fast.
GTA 5 is not a very long game, though. I'll say, I beat it pretty quickly. I never beat
But at the
GTA
same time,
5.
is GTA really all about beating the storyline, or is it about experiencing the world? Because I'm less than like 20% through the story, and it's that's not how I don't play those games for the stories. I play the games to experience the world and to have
The only
fun.
thing I really like about it a lot is driving around the foothills around Los Angeles because it reminds me of the foothills around Sacramento because that's what California looks like.
Honestly,
And
the
I don't
story in
live there
GTA
anymore.
5 wasn't that great either. Like the characters were pretty good, but the actual story and narrative plot, everything, I thought was not as good as 4
It
at
just,
all. The ending sucked too. I won't tell
well,
you what happens.
obviously you won't, but yeah, it just feels disjointed. And obviously, like I have a heavy bias to Grand Theft Auto 4. It's like one of my top 10 games of all time. The only thing that I wish GTA 4 had that GTA 5 does is the ability to like raise the camera a little bit above your vehicle.
hmm
Um,
The driving
otherwise-
is a lot better in 5 too.
Otherwise, I would play
Much better.
4 like if I had to choose, I would play 4 every time.
The voice acting is also a lot less annoying in 5, I'll say that, but it's
What's
just
annoying in 4?
Nico.
You don't like foreigners.
That, of course. I like that. Yeah, my great grandma was from Belarus.
That's the American. That's the American story.
Yeah, okay.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just trying to make you feel bad.
I know.
Anyways,
So
Mario
let's
Kart.
no, we got a couple other things first.
No, the Far Cry was the last thing before Mario Kart.
No, I made the agenda. We had something else that we added in. So Michael wanted to talk about.
Yes.
We talked about this a tad, but Moon Chronicles, this new shooter coming out
Oh, yes.
on the 3DS.
Has anybody played it yet besides me?
No, I want to
Not
though.
gonna get this weekend.
I'm getting it this weekend.
Yeah, me too.
I don't have a 3DS.
Brian, you should just leave. Get up and leave the room.
It's $9 for the first episode, which contains 4 chapters. The first chapter is 2.5 minutes. The second chapter is 49 minutes.
That's a jump.
And chapters 3 and 4 are about 5 minutes each. So my total playtime for standard difficulty was 1.5 hours. I know that doesn't add up, but that's what happened.
It looked horrible. I'm gonna say from the trailer I saw. I don't know how it plays though.
It's a 3DS game.
Yeah, it's not any trailer
No,
for anything
no.
on any
Have you-
screenshots for 3DS look horrible. But
No,
Have
it
you,
looks like
have you
a-
guys played any of
the DS version?
Renegade Kids first-person shooters before?
I have the original DS version.
Has anybody besides Eric played Dimension
I never picked those up. There was 2, right?
and Dimension 2?
Yeah. No, never.
They're really solid. Technically, on the DS, Moon gets a lot more interesting than it is in the first chapter of the 3DS version. But I really wish that they had the right. They just got the rights back for Moon, and I wish that they had the rights for Dimension, but they don't. It's a lot more interesting to me. But on the 3DS, it's really nice looking as far as the frame rate. It's a solid 60 frames per second. The 3D effect is really nice if you don't get that sort of ghosting thing that I get all the time.
Does it stay in 60 when you have the 3D on?
It stays in 60, but the thing is, and again, I don't know if this is just me, but whenever the screen is really dark, like there's a lot of blacks on the screen.
That's racist.
I get a lot of dark colors and black shadows and things like that. I get a lot of ghosting.
Hey,
No
Michael,
matter-
can I offer a piece of advice what I found with my XL? It's not so much the distance, it's actually the angle of what you're
Yeah,
holding.
I can't.
Okay.
I think it's my glasses as well, but I
So you have the
can't.
Struggle Pad Pro for the 3DS XL.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, I got it for the original one.
Yeah,
Do
but
you
I'll
guys-
get to that. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, how often do you play the 3D on? Because I
All the
never.
time.
All the
I
time.
Seth, that
I
sewing
never turn
machine
it off.
behind you looks like a big Lego to me. I'm just gonna say.
It's made out of Legos. Now.
Okay.
Gabe,
never- But
Gabe, one piece of advice I just have for you really quickly, Gabe. Have you looked at these screenshots and trailers on the 3DS itself?
No, this was
Yeah.
a video that they put out.
So take
Yeah,
the
no one
time.
goes
He
on
has
ever.
linked. He has QR codes so you can open them up in your web browser on the 3DS. Take the time to do that. They look really good on the
Okay.
3DS.
It
But-
wasn't that though. It wasn't like the graphics looked bad. When I say it looked bad, I mean like it just looked
So let me
stiff and
let
didn't
me
look
explain.
fun.
Like
I don't
it's basically an up-res. It's an up port of a DS game,
know. Right.
and it was really impressive on the DS. And it's like really bad voice acting. One of the other half of Renegade Kid, who's not Jules Watson, is one of the voices in it. It's funny, but it's okay to me in a way because it feels like a not as far back as Doom, but sort of like a mid-90s first-person shooter as far as like how it looks, how it feels.
Does it pull off like a Earth Defense Force kind of vibe in that it's supposed to be kind of cheesy?
Yeah, and the story's cool. There's like this mystery about like what's inside the moon, and eventually you figure it out. But my problem with episode 1, which I haven't written my review yet, but it's over before anything interesting happens, and you spend almost the whole time shooting little floating basketballs. Basically, I mean they're like sentry droids.
Is Donald Sterling in this game?
And but I'm still enjoying it, but that's because I know.
But you knew it was a sports reference.
I'm enjoying it because I know what's coming, because I've played through the DS game. But I feel like they cut it off too early, story-wise, other than sort of a diehard Renegade Kid fans, and there are a lot of them, and diehard 3D fans and 3DS fans, there are a lot of those too. I feel like they cut it off too early to hold people's interest until the next episode, unless they put out like a really interesting trailer. Because you fight a boss at the end that's pretty cool looking, but again, for like the entire time you're just shooting these little sentry droids, and that's pretty much it. But that's actually not what I wanted to talk about. What I wanted to talk about was their Circle Pad Pro support. I was really excited for it because it was a first-person shooter on the 3DS that would be able to use 2 joysticks. But it actually works, for me anyway, it works really poorly with the Circle Pad Pro because there's no it's so elastic with like the dead zone on the Circle Pad that like if you're trying to aim, like it's constantly fighting you and constantly trying to go back to the middle. And these like sentry droids, they're like this, like all over the screen, and they're jumping around, and it just doesn't. It doesn't work for me. Having said that, I do think that this is going to sound weird, but I do think that the 3DS is actually a better system for first-person shooters because of the resistive touchscreen, meaning you have a stylus, so you have pinpoint accuracy versus like using the touchscreen on the Vita, where you have to use your finger, and it's just not as accurate. I just think that the sort of mouse control accuracy is better than a right thumbstick.
Are any of you guys left-handed?
No. Amy is. Amy's left-handed.
You're left-handed?
Yes, I am left-handed.
Okay, so the main reason why I got the Circle Pad Pro, even though I got it when Resident Evil came out, was for Kid Icarus, so I could actually, play the game.
That's why I haven't bought it.
Yeah, if you get the Circle Pad Pro, like it works great. Or there's some other control options that are okay, I guess.
You use your hand on the left-hand stylus, right, and right hand on okay.
Yep, and it worked well.
It definitely would not work with 2 joysticks. It's just not that kind of a game.
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely not. That's why it should have been on the Wii U, because that would have been fine. Or now, I mean, they should make one for the Wii U because it wasn't out then.
Hey, one thing, I completely agree with what you say, Michael, and the fact that I think Nintendo knows that 2 circle pads are not a good idea, especially an aftermarket one where the resistance is going to be different than the one that's built in your 3DS. That's why you haven't seen them push the Circle Pad Pro.
Well, the Circle Pad Pro actually feels exactly the same as the regular one.
You got lucky because I've seen reports all over online where people's Circle Pad Pros feel different.
I don't know.
That's weird because I had one for my original system as well, and it felt identical.
It feels the plastic on it feels a little bit different, but the resistance is the same for me.
Okay, my point being is that I will. Now, while not a good game, I still say Metroid Prime Hunters is my favorite controlling FPS I've ever played. It wasn't
terrible.
Yeah, I just bought that again.
The demo.
I just bought it again because I don't like it.
Explain yourself.
Well, I love Metroid. I love it so much. I play those games like all the time, but that game does not feel like Metroid at all, and it doesn't even feel like Metroid Prime. So it's been several years since I played it, so I bought it again to see if I could get through it, basically, and it was cheap. It was like $6.
Can I ask you a question?
No, but Eric, you should definitely get Dimension.
I will.
It feels like
Not Dementia. That'd be bad.
Dimension.
What?
It feels like Metroid
might.
Prime.
Where am I?
It's so much better. It's such a good game. It's a first-person shooter in like a insane asylum, basically.
Now, Michael, my question to you about Moon Chronicles. If this is about a quarter of the game, and if this is about the same length as the rest of the episodes, what is Renegade Kid's justification in charging more for the first episodes than the next set, especially when you're framing it around it's the least interesting part of the game, but it costs the most, but it's just as long as the other parts?
I don't know. I think probably because this is the part that has the engine. Do you know what I mean? And they're not gonna charge $2. I mean, honestly, if you look at it, you're playing. Even if you concede the fact that you're like running around very samey-looking environments, shooting flying basketballs, technically, it's a very impressive game for what it is, and so I think it's worth more than a $2 game. I just think that they should have not ended it where it did, or maybe should have like put a trailer on the end or something like. Next Moon Chronicles or whatever.
I have one last very tiny question. Is it going to be separate 3DS applications, or is it going to be DLC?
It's
all
DLC.
within this one? Okay, thank you.
But yeah, I want to know what you guys thought in general about first-person shooters on portables, because the thing is, like, that's still like the #1 genre on consoles, right? Basically.
Yep.
Other than exercise games and sports games, but it. They do not do well on portables ever, and I'm wondering.
The control scheme isn't right. Like 2 sticks is not enough. You need to have 2 clickable sticks. You need to have 2 sets of L and R buttons, or the setup. Something is going to have to be changed, and it's not going to be natural. And that's the thing. It has to feel right. And when you have to map buttons weirdly, even on Uncharted, they had to map things strangely.
I liked it a lot. I didn't have any problems with it.
Well,
Especially because the touchscreen the touchscreen stuff was optional. You didn't actually have to do it.
In Uncharted?
Yeah.
That game had the most forced touchscreen stuff of any Vita game I've played.
No. Well, I was going to say what does is Assassin's Creed, but that's not touchscreen stuff. That's backscreen light bullshit. It's the reason I quit playing that game. But anyway, no, you could do all that stuff other than like rubbing dirt off a map or whatever it was. Like all the climbing on ledges and things like that, like you didn't have to use the touchscreen for it.
Melee combat, you had to swipe. There were times where you'd fall. You had to swipe up to keep yourself from falling. You couldn't
But it was
navigate,
accurate, right?
Yeah, but you had to do it. You couldn't even navigate the menus without using touch. Like, and that's the sort of thing that they updated because they realized people hated it later for the Vita UI, but not for the game itself. We have to move on now to the last couple things because we have to wrap this up. So. Our Mario Kart 8 review went up. Do you want to just talk about that a little bit, Michael?
Yeah, we've been playing it pretty much nonstop. I've only had it since last Thursday, so 8 days, and it's already like the most played game on the Wii. Didi's playing it right now, and we're just like trying to unlock more shit, but. It's so good. I don't know how everybody feels about Mario Kart 7, but it's pretty much that, like, with new tracks and like on steroids.
Mario Kart 7 is the best Mario Kart game up to this point.
To you?
Yes, to me.
Super Mario Kart still to me.
Have you tried playing that game? That does not age very well.
I played
it. Does. It actually does, but you know what doesn't is Super Circuit.
Yes, that. I agree with that.
I tried to play that last year, and it was a nightmare. So anyway, we'll have a Super Time Force review going up hopefully tomorrow.
Yes.
By the time you watch this edited version, it will probably already be up, which is great. There's also a Wolfenstein trailer. I will link in the description. We can't talk about it right now because we're running out of time, but I want you viewers to watch it because I think as a trailer, it's just cut really, really well. I think they did a good job.
You're moving on from Mario Kart already?
Oh, we have to, Michael.
Okay, I just want to say that over the weekend we're going to have a couple stories up with footage of every track from the game.
Very cool.
So it'll be unique footage. It'll be from Mario Kart TV from my Wii U. Some of it's up on YouTube now, but I just haven't had a chance to.
So hopefully we'll get those YouTube videos going up on this channel as well, so we'll have everything kind of consolidated in one place. And so last, just real quick, let's just go around and say what we've been playing right now. So I'll go first. Besides, I just finished up Super Time Force. I've been playing. Finally, I got Lone Survivor on the Vita. I've been playing that a little bit.
Nice.
I didn't play too much, and I'm actually replaying Golden Abyss right now. I just decided to play it again, mostly because I switched my Vita out after I beat it the first time because I thought there was an issue with the back touchpad. But I think now it's finally letting me get the trophies that I got before for some reason. So yeah, those are what I'm playing.
I can go. Let's see. I've been playing a lot of Mario Golf on the 3DS, and then on my PS4, I played a lot of the Sports Friends. Which is the new indie release, which is great. Yeah, super. With some friends, we had a party this weekend. It was really, really great. And also, Stick It to the Man from Zoink Games. It's an indie developer. Really
That's
great.
That's free on PS Plus right now for PS4.
Yes, it is free right now. It's also on Wii U. It's on pretty much every console, I think.
I think it's like $10 on the Vita.
Is it on Vita?
Yep.
Huh.
I
didn't know either. I just saw it in the market.
Yeah, it's a great game. Totally.
It's got a great art style. Reminds me of the old early '90s Nick cartoons.
Definitely,
yeah. Like Rocket of Modern Life. For some reason, I just keep feeling Rocket of Modern Life.
Yeah, or All Real Monsters too.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's really
Brien,
good.
why don't you go now if you have to jump out?
Yeah. Like Seth, I've been playing. I played Sports Friends with my family over Mother's Day, and none of them had played anything like it before. Joust was a hit.
So good.
So can you explain that real quick? Like, what is this about people having Joust parties in their backyards?
So Joust is a game that doesn't require you actually using the television at all. It doesn't have any graphics or anything. There's a title screen and a control screen, basically, to show you how to play. And then you just pick up a Move controller, and the object is to jostle another person's Move controller so they're knocked out of the game. And it's all based on music that's playing. When it's playing slowly, you can't move too much, or else you'll knock yourself out, basically. But the music will pick up every once in a while. You can move around a little faster and have a little more freedom to try and get close and really push someone out of the way and get them out of the game.
Okay.
Yeah, it's motion based basically.
Mm-hmm.
But,
yeah, it doesn't require the PlayStation camera either. We played it without that.
You can use any controller.
You can use
DualShock 3, DualShock 4.
Yeah.
You can use a DualShock 4, but I don't recommend a DualShock 4. It plays best with the Move
So
controller.
can I just ask, is it basically the same thing as? Is it basically the same thing as standing on top of a tiny crate with sticks?
Yeah, this doesn't sound like
Pretty
a
much.
video game as much as it just is
It's
trying
not.
to get you to go
It's a
outside.
party game. It's a party game.
It's a party game, but it's hilarious and it's really fun.
It does sound fun.
Although I do
I get
recommend
it. I just don't understand why it requires a PlayStation. But,
Eric, what about you?
it was designed with Move controllers originally in mind, and the early builds of the game that they showed off at Penny Arcade Expo, there were just like 7 to 10 people standing around in the room, or even out in a park. They would go out and do this with a laptop, and they would have Move controllers, and they'd be playing with it. And so they programmed it with the Move originally, and it was through Kickstarter that they brought it to PlayStation.
You know, I actually read that they first started with the Wiimote from one of the guy who created Joust.
Yeah.
It's made by four guys, made each game in the collection of Sports Friends. But they first started with the Wiimote, and then they moved it to the PS4.
And the Move controller has some advantages, like having the light, the bulb on top of it that shows you, whose color is what, and then also gives you a visual representation of who's been knocked out of the game as well.
I see.
I played with DS4s though, and it does work.
It does. Yeah, we used.
It has the lights as well, and it rumbles when you're out, so it works fine for me. It's recommended with the Move, but the DS4s work fine.
Yeah, I had 6 people with 2 moves and 4 DualShock 3s, and even then, the DualShock 3 is no visual indication, but it just rumbles really hard when you're out, and it still worked fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I actually recommend it more on PS3 than PS4, only because PS3 you can have up to 7 people playing, whereas PS4 you can only have 4.
And you can use custom music on PS3.
Yes.
Okay. So Eric,
what are you playing?
What are you playing?
So I've actually been just kind of kicking back and playing some older games. I've been going through a little bit of Pokemon resurgence. I've been switching back and forth between Pokemon White and Pokemon Soul Silver, actually. On top of that, I've been playing. Actually, I got Brain Age concentration training for $3 from Toys R Us. I got Golden Sun Dark Dawn for $3, and I got Steel Diver for $3. So Toys R Us has some pretty good clearance going on if you guys are near one.
I think I have Dark Dawn. Is that the
DS Golden Sun? Yeah.
Yeah, I have. I think I got that for free. I reviewed it for CGR back when I was doing text reviews for them. I reviewed that game.
And then, other than that, on my Vita, I've actually been going back and playing Jetpack Joyride because there's one trophy I have left.
Yeah.
There's one trophy, and I gotta get it.
That's an A on Invisible Gamer. Yeah.
Amy, what about you?
I actually also have been playing Jetpack Joyride, believe it or not. On iOS, not Vita. I do have it on my Vita, but I always end up going back to my phone because it's the convenient thing. It's always on me. And I've also been playing Child of Light, so you can expect my review of that this weekend.
Probably Sunday.
Finish that up today. Woohoo! So you guys have that to look forward to. I very much enjoyed it. And you get to read my crappy poetry.
I like the
It's
poetry.
great. It's the best poetry.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you know.
Let's not oversell it. It was cute. I liked it.
I meant crappy poetry. It's the best poetry.
It was appropriate. It was good. I like it. Good job.
But, so you guys have that to look forward to. And then the other thing I've been kind of playing is I've been going back to Minecraft. I had a friend who set up a Feed the Beast server, which is a tricked-out, modded-out version of Minecraft. My computer can barely run it. I'm still on a laptop, and it chugs a little bit when I go to play. It's a 4-year-old laptop, but that's always a lot of fun. I built myself a pretty kick-ass treehouse and a bunch of cherry trees, which is probably the coolest thing I've ever built in Minecraft, which probably tells you how much I actually build things in Minecraft. But I do enjoy playing Minecraft. It's one of those things that I keep going back to. So that's kind of been my chill life.
And Michael?
I've been playing Mario Kart 8. Pretty much that's it the past few days. Other than that, I'm also playing Mario Golf World Tour a lot.
Yes, that game's so good.
And then I'm playing Mighty Final Fight for Famicom, which is like a NES, which is like a cartoony retelling, like a humorous retelling of the first Final Fight game. I don't know if any of you know what Final Fight is. Seth, I'm sure you do. Anybody else?
I know.
It's in the vein of like Double Dragon, those games, right?
Yeah, it's a beat 'em up.
Oh.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay.
Mostly Mario Kart 8.
Great. Okay, so I think this was a good first episode, a little over an hour. Not sure how the time's going to go up, but we're going to try to do this once a week. Thank everyone for watching. Give us any suggestions you want to see. If you're interested in being maybe a guest on the show or something like that, let us know. We'll get in contact with you. But until next time, we'll see you later.
Bye.
Follow us on Twitter.
Yes.
Each
Twitter,
of us
Facebook. Do it.
individually.
Yeah, it's Invisible Gamer, Invisible_Gamer. All right, we'll see you.